Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. Today I'm excited. This is going to be a fun one. I am always pleasantly surprised when I hear of people not knowing some of these things I'm going to be talking about today. So today is going to be all about my favorite hacks, different tips and tricks with mascara, some things that make it different that you can't do with any other makeup. I'm gonna go over a couple of application things, but mostly it's gonna be non-application related, which is very different for my videos. So hopefully you will enjoy it. Let me know if you do. Hit that like, thumbs up button, whatever it's called. If you enjoyed this video, keep watching if you want to see what I'm going to be talking about, and be sure to subscribe so you see my next tutorial, which will definitely be probably makeup related. Thanks for being here. All right, let's just get right into it with the things I can show you first on my face. So I already have a full face of makeup, but I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks for actual things you can do on your face. So my first up is the Perfector. So I feel like this baby doesn't get all the praise it deserves. People just think they blend their makeup with it, but in fact, you can actually apply your makeup with it as well. So I recommend trying it and seeing what you like. So if you're not new to my channel, you know I always apply, bless you, that's my dog, bless you. Oh my goodness, bless you. I always apply my illuminator with my Perfector. Never fails. It is my favorite way to blend as I apply without getting fingerprints or any kind of streaks or lines with my glow. But one thing that I have recently discovered is that I actually really love using it dry. That's why it looks sturdy. And I don't ever use it dry except for this one thing, and that is applying my accent brightener. So by tapping into my accent, I love to do this in the car when I don't have a wet Perfector and I'm using my clutch to put on my makeup and I just want to do a real quick brighten, and it presses it on so you don't get too much at the same time. Can you tell the difference? Look at that. But it doesn't get too thick, and then you can just simply turn it around with the other side and press it in. So I love that trick. That's the only time I use a dry Perfector. Otherwise, I like application of everything else with your damp Perfector. So another thing with highlight is blemish coverage. I get asked all the time about blemishes, and I feel like it's one of those things that you have to try different ways because everybody's skin is different. So my favorite brush for blemishes is probably the Multitasker, because when you have those little guys, it just spot treats so well. So I've got one right here. Let's see. So you can easily put that on right there. Sometimes you just get those that like don't want to stick. So for those, I would go in with my blemish color corrector, which is probably Mango, because it really likes to get the redness out. And I just simply press. It blends it at the same time. Make sure you don't get too thick to where it's gonna look dry in a few hours. And look at that. I love the Perfector for that. And you can easily then do the same thing and use just a little bit of powder on the end and set it so it's not going anywhere all day. So you guys have seen me before use the Perfector to apply my setting powder. That's a great one. But a lot of people don't realize how good it is for blush as well. So use the butt end and pounce it in the lip and cheek color. And I already have blush on, but you guys know. And then just press it on. Okay, I better do the other side so I look even. Okay, to really layer up that layer up that blush color. And that's a great trick if you want to just add just a touch more and you kind of want to blend it at the same time. Blend those edges. I do the same thing with my Bella. So Bella bronzer, this is another great one when you just want to do certain areas and you can just press it in. Now I don't recommend this if you're gonna be warming up your neck. You kind of need the brush, otherwise it's gonna be maybe a little too concentrated in certain spots. But for over the lip and cheek and on that forehead area, it's a really good one as well, and it blends it at the same time. So that's the Perfector. It's useful in more than one way. So I wanted to share this baby. You guys know my love for her runs deep. All right, so the next one I can show you for application has to do with shadows. So you might have heard this before. It works for any shadow, not just mascaras. You can even do it with water, but what I like to do is use our Stay Spray. Okay, so if you ever want a shimmery shadow to pack more of a punch, there's quite a few different ways. You can use like a glitter primer or a white primer on your lids to really show off more pigmentation. But what I like to do is sometimes just use some Stay Spray. So it's the same thing with water, but our Stay Spray is gonna give you more longevity for your eyeshadows. Some people like to spray their brush. I am all about not wasting any of this precious liquid. So I spray in the cap so that it doesn't spray everywhere. And then I lightly wet my brush. So for foiled shadows, I love the Multitasker again, because it's got that flat end. And with this application method, you really want to press it. So I like to kind of sweep it on the corner, and you don't want your brush like dripping wet. Okay, you just want it damp. And I also recommend going for the edges of your shadow, okay? Because if you do this a lot, you can actually cause those parts of your shadow to develop a film on top. So it's gonna be hard to get the color. So what I like to do is I like to dip in and keep one edge for my foiled part. Does that make sense? You'll notice when it dries. You'll be able to tell. Okay, so I got, this is Soulmate, is one of my favorite colors to foil because I already have it on my eyes very lightly, but hopefully you guys will be able to see just by pressing right over. Look at the difference. So that is pressed on, and then this is just lightly with my finger. I feel like the camera never does it justice. Okay, this is also really great if you want that wow factor, and the shadow is still wet right here, so I don't even have to get more on my brush. But look at that, on that inner corner, it's gonna give that more, I call it foiled look. Okay, you can tell from the, can you see the difference it makes in your shadow? So just beware of that, but it is a game changer when it comes to getting really good color payoff, not just foiled, but really great color payoff as well. Like it will take it to the next level. And press those on so you get even more pigmentation. And that way you still have some in your lid if you need more. Okay, so the last one I'm gonna show you this way is our magical, what do I call it? Brush cleaner. So a lot of people don't realize we have a brush cleaner. They don't realize that there is another way to clean your brushes other than soap and water, which is what everyone's used to before mascara. So it recently has been changed from Restore to Houdini, okay? And the name has changed. So it's called Houdini because it's like magic. You simply spray it, swirl, and it's gone. Okay, so I can't stress enough how easy it is. You simply can spray it on a towel, let's find a dirty brush so you can really see. Okay, very dirty brush. spray it on the paper towel. I am simply swirling my brush. Okay, it's already that clean, but I like to spray one more time until I really know. I mean, it looked clean. The bristles were white, but look how much was still on my brush. Okay, that is very clean now. So this is the easiest way to prevent breakouts. So if you're thinking that the makeup is breaking you out or anything like that, I ask you, when's the last time you cleaned your brush? Okay. When's the last time you cleaned your Perfector? So I like to clean my Perfector with Dawn dish soap to make it look like brand new again. And then I will spray it with this to disinfect it and kill all the bacteria. So this not only kills bacteria, but it will sanitize. That's the same thing. Sanitize, conditions the bristles, so your brushes are gonna last longer, because you know, brushes are an investment. You don't want to have to replace them every year. And our brushes do have a 1-year warranty anyway, but it will condition them so they last longer and they look brand new. You don't have to do the soap and water clean, wait for them to dry overnight, worry about water getting into the ferrule of the brush and then the bristles falling out. My biggest thing was the waiting time of like having to sit there and wait overnight before I can put on my makeup again. If I needed to clean my brush immediately, it's like impossible. So these dry in 30 seconds. Not to mention, it smells like cotton candy. So who can argue with that? So I can clean all of my brushes, which I have a lot, in very little time. And then they are good to go. Houdini for the win. No more soap and water cleans. Such a great hack. So I've got one more. I can kind of show you this direction so I don't have to turn you around. But I'm always shocked that people don't realize this. So all of our makeup, if you are new to mascara, you might not know, all of our makeup comes in tins, okay? They're so cute, but they actually have a purpose. So I want to show you guys. So when you get your makeup, comes like this, you slide it out and don't throw this away. Okay, you can pop it into your magnetic compact. Okay, and then you'll notice that they fit pretty tight in there. Okay, say you want to change out this color and you're trying to like grab it without sticking your finger in a cream and losing a bunch of product. Tin lid, you see how it's shaped like that? Simply run it into the crack and blah. There you go, switch it out. Game changer, right? So at least keep one of these bad boys so you don't have to stick your fingers in your creams ever again. Yay! All right, friends, now you can see my messy setup here. Okay, here's the next hack. Broken shadow. We've all accidentally dropped one on the floor before, or you get one that's broken and then you message me and we'll get you a new one sent out. But hey, salvage the one you have, okay? All you need is a little isopropyl alcohol. Doesn't matter if it's 91 or 70 proof, but either will work. Best case scenario, take something to put down. It can be slightly messy. You're going to lose a little bit. And I have tried this a lot of different ways. I've tried like taking it all out, mixing it up. But honestly, the best is just to leave it in there, okay? Put as much as you can back in the tin and do it this way. Now, I'm not fancy. I don't have a syringe. I'm gonna take a little bit in a straw, okay? Put my finger over it so I get some in here, and I'm going to add it dropwise, okay, in to moisten the entire thing. Okay, the key is not getting too much or you'll have to wait like that. Don't do that. don't get too much or it's gonna be too wet and it's gonna take forever to dry. So you can either use a little bit of this, like my press and seal here, and press it over the top. Okay, you can use saran wrap. The key is to kind of press it in there, and then you're gonna have to press it with pressure. Now, I like to kind of tap it to get out bubbles. Okay, it's gonna be messy. You can even use a paper towel over the top to kind of flatten it out the best you can. I feel like the press and seal sometimes sticks a little bit, so I'll do that, and then I'll just use my finger. Okay, I got a little bit too much, but no worries. It just might take a little bit longer to dry. Oh my gosh, this thing is sticky. It's sticking to me everywhere. So press it in there. The key is the better you can press it into the pan, the more it's going to meld back together and be brand new again. Okay, so get out all those bubbles. And it's good as new. This will work with any powders or shadows. I usually just let them sit to dry overnight and then you're golden. So my only thing is if you drop that one, again, it is gonna be much more likely to break than your other shadows. But I have fixed them and they've lasted just as long till they get to the bottom of the pan, and then they might start breaking again. But you can still get a whole lot of use out of that one color. All right, friends, so last but not least, the magic of creams. So if you haven't ever tried this before, okay, say your highlight shades are getting pretty low, like it's harder to dip out of the corners. You guys, never waste a drop of this magical makeup, okay? And it doesn't have to be low for you even to do this. If you're type A like me and you just like them to be all smooth and pretty, you can also do this. So I have a glass top burner, so it works really well for me. I've even seen people put it on a flat iron or even their coffee maker, the flat part. And the key is low and slow. So what I do is I put it on low. Sometimes I kind of crank, because mine is the type that turns red, if you can see it. I turn it up so it turns red, and then I turn it back down to low, okay? And I like to stir as they melt. So it's not exactly the prettiest thing, but creams will kind of attract any kind of fuzz or dust or anything that is on your brushes. So these they're finally fully melted. I'm gonna show you. I like to stir, and hopefully this doesn't gross you guys out, but can you see what came out? And then as I've gotten everything out, I just push it off the heat. So here's a great example of what can get in your creams. Gross. It's just probably fuzz, but still. It's amazing when they look like new again. So push it off to the side, let it cool, and it will get flat. Now for ones like this, I will tap and try to get a nice thin layer on the bottom. Okay, for this next part, I'm gonna play a little mad scientist. So I have an empty old eyeshadow tin. You can also use a full-size tin, doesn't matter, but I just want to make a small customized shade for me, for my clutch. So I'm going to take some sandstone. I probably need a little bit more than that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put that on the heat so that can melt back down. I'm gonna wipe this off. And I'm going to take some plum. I'm going to take a little bit more plum. And then I'm also going to take some Desert Sunset. And then I'm going to melt it down and mix it up. Okay, so you might notice our glossy shades always melt quicker than our mattes. Okay, and that's important to note if you ever leave your makeup in the car. Remember, hot summer days do not mix well with glossy lip and cheeks. They would be the first ones to melt, and we don't want that mess. So I'm gonna stir these around, push them off the heat. Now, one thing to note is if your lip and cheek has any shimmer in it, then I would recommend being super careful with this method. Also, illuminators. So I wait till about as far as I possibly can before I melt an illuminator. And if I do it slowly as possible, and I stir it the whole time. Otherwise that shimmer is going to fall to the bottom and it's gonna lose the whole purpose of an illuminator. So be wary of that and any shimmery lip and cheek shades. Okay, so I just barely let the illuminator melt, stirred it and pushed it aside. And now I'm just making sure my custom color is how I want it. Make sure it's fully mixed, and then I'm gonna push it over and then just let them cool. All right, friends, there you have it. They look brand new, they're clean, sanitized, and you have your very own custom shade to put in your compact. All right, friends,
Love
so
it.
if you've never ordered in the summer before, you might not know that this can happen. So creams are amazing. As you just saw, you can melt them down, get every last drop, but being that they melt, heat is not always their friend. So sometimes you get them in the summer, if they feel warm to the touch, you might be so anxious to try your makeup, you slide it and this happens and you lose your makeup in the 10. So you can do one or two things. You can then pop this on that burner, just like you did. I got lip and cheek all over me. And kind of melt that back down. Then you sit it upright to cool, okay? Or you just open up your box of mail, okay? You open up your happy package, you take out the 10s. If they feel warm, take it and then open up your fridge, okay? Put it right side up, pretty side up, and then sit it there. And it does not take long, but let it cool. All of that warm, hot cream will melt back down and give you a smooth surface again. So when you open up your color for the first time, you're not gonna lose any, and it's gonna be beautiful and flat and look like brand new. All right, friends, so hopefully that enlightened you on some of the things you could do with mascara that you might not be able to do with other makeups. And I hope you learned something new, and thank you for being here. I love you guys. Bye.